Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
Lachlan, you good at lip reading? Fantastic. Hopefully you can hear me now, Lachlan. I was just saying. Hey, reconnection successful. Hey, it's Friday on the internet. It's Friday on the internet, and that means it's going to probably break. So anyway, I was saying, hey, it's Friday, so it's the it's at least Friday in Australia. So welcome, and hi Lachlan, hi R2AU, Alex, good to see you again. So being Friday, we're going to do ourselves a bit of a Xamarin UI challenge. So let's duck into that. Hopefully everyone's having a good time. But let's switch over, have a look at my desktop here. And please, if you have any troubles with the audio or whatnot, let me know. Lachlan's a sound engineer, so he should know. All right. So what are we going to do today? We're going to have a look at just basically... Oh, I can see you, but not getting any sound. Okay, let me check with Lachlan. Lachlan, have we got sound? You're getting audio? Lachlan can hear me? Maybe do a refresh, smart man. But no tunes. All right, well, let's fix that problem. Let's put some tunes on, hey? There we are. Where the banger's at. That's a banger. I don't know if it's a banger. It's I use Pretzel for that. Okay, cool. So let's talk about what we're going to cover off here. So this is a UI concept over on Dribble by Ghani Pradita. And if we go and have I'll just post that link into the chat window there. So the idea of this one is we're gonna basically have a look at this screen here. So if we come over here and have a look, so this is the UI. Okay, so it's and we'll focus on this one here. It's a little bit more interesting. This other one's sort of just a standard collection view, but not that this one here is particularly complex UI, but it does have some interesting things going on. The first thing that I find interesting is that it's actually very, very pretty. It's a nice looking UI, so something that you might actually have in your application. Hey, Glenn Stevens, welcome. I know you were going to stream today, Glenn, but they were doing some works around you, so welcome. So I was just saying, Glenn, we're going to do this UI here. It's not particularly complex, I suppose, but it does have some interesting parts in it. Like I said, it's pretty. It's got lots of overlapping elements, so that's an interesting thing to do in your Xamarin UI layouts. It always makes your UIs look a little bit more dynamic, I think, when you've got these overlapping elements. But also, apart from overlapping elements, it's got some interesting things in terms of gradients going on as well. So you can see it's got this sort of fade that it does over top of the poster image. It also has this drop shadow here, which I'm interested to do because I'm not aware of anything that would actually do that sort of drop shadow for you inside of the Xamarin.Forms sort of framework or any of the libraries I know. So we'll probably use Skier in order to do that and see how we go, because Skier is always a really good option if you want to do some interesting UI bits that are just not available from Xamarin.Forms. What else? It's got kind of an interesting tab sort of mechanism going on here as well. So, I'm assuming that what the designer had in mind is, as we click on each of these, this little bar goes underneath each of the different elements, and then we've got a different section down the bottom. So, like I said, not crazy complex, but hopefully we can get it done today. Now, what else is interesting about this? The other interesting thing is, apart from overlapping, it does some clipping as well. So you can see that it's got this fresh that's going down the back here, and it's clipped to the bounds. So we'll have a look at clip to bounds, which is a pretty cool little property that you might use as well. All right, so I've actually gone and created a startup solution, because normally in these streams, what I do is I start by, actually just file newing up a project and then bringing in the fonts and things like that. I've already done that, just to stop you having to watch me do that. Lachlan says, I think there's some implicit crazy parallax scrolling going on. Yeah, so maybe, I think with this screen here, it's probably meant to be a one-pager, because what I'm assuming is this part here scrolls, right? Not so much this one. Now, probably in another stream, depending on if people want to have a look at it, we might do this UI over here. And this one's a little bit more interesting because it's got this angle that goes through here. That's a good example of where you might do parallax. So as you scroll up, maybe you modify that orange background as well. And later on, we might have a look at this navigation as well, how you create a funky little navigation like that. But really the objective for this stream is to just get this first screen done. So like I said, I kind of newed up a project already. I stuck it in GitHub. So this is where the code's going to be available. And I'll try and do a write-up of this as well. I've got a few in the backlog to actually do write-ups of. So I've got this loaded up here, and I've actually brought in a few things already. So let me show you what I brought in. So the first thing I did is I brought in just a simple class, right? Just to give me some data to work with. So what I did is I went and hit the movie database and pulled back some information. So, we've got the idea of the concept of a movie. We've got the concept of a cast member as well. So these are pretty simple classes. Movie just has title, release dates, audience scores, etc. Has some URLs for the poster and the backdrop, and it's got some information about a cast member as well. So not a lot going on here, but what we can do perhaps in a later stream, if people are interested in it, is we can actually hook this up to calling the movie database API, which might be a little bit more interesting as well. So once we do that first screen, maybe we'll tackle that. What else did I do? I brought in some styles. So I just went over to what I normally do when I'm creating a UI is I bring it into something like Adobe XD and just put it there so as I can sort of think about how it might be constructed. One of the nice things, here's something I like about Adobe XD, is you can grab these, and I'm sure it's the same on any of the applications. You can basically create these guides, right? So you can sort of drag down a guide to a particular point. And what's cool is if you click on these, it'll actually show you the size of things. So it's kind of useful if you get a design that you're trying to replicate and you want to sort of measure it out and see how big things are. So that's something I like. So basically what I did here is I got some of these elements, I sort of reproduced them and then exported them. So inside my project already, I've got some resources. So inside of my Android, under resources, under the drawables, I've got a few little images in there as well to start with. I also brought in the fonts as well. I decided to use Open Sans. So export row and column definitions. Oh, that's a great idea, Lachlan. That's a great idea. Because one thing I do have is I wrote a plugin for Adobe XD. actually, which I haven't got loaded in here because I had to reinstall it, which would grab the styles and the colors. But actually, you know, that's really interesting, Lachlan. If you could write some code which could actually go and have a look at the guides, then you could actually set up your grids. Yeah, it's a cool idea. I like it. All right, I haven't done that as yet though. But what I did do is I brought in some fonts. So just as a quick refresher, fonts for Android go under the resources folder. In iOS, fonts don't go under the resource folder. Fonts go under the assets folder in Android. On iOS, they go under the resources folder. And then I basically just set up a few little font families here to bring those in. And I set just some basic styles as well. So I basically just captured those from Adobe XD and just brought them in here. So you can see I've got like a movie name, which is a bold font of 14 using the main text color. All right, so that's kind of the starting point that we're at. What else did I do? I set up the binding, right? So as it says here, this is a super lame binding just to get data into the screen. So once we actually go and sort of improve on this and we actually call to an API, we'll have a proper object model and a proper view model and things like that. But today's focus is really just around getting that layout correct. Okay, so I've set the binding context just to the first movie in here. So this is super lame. Don't do it in your own applications. Alrighty, so let's get started, I suppose. So where we'll start off with, I suppose, is thinking about how we'd lay this out. So one way we could do this is we could definitely do this via an absolute layout, which might be a pretty good option, actually, given that we've got so many overlapping elements and things like that. But I love grids, and I think it's interesting to see what you can do with grids, because I think a lot of people feel if they have to have overlapping elements and things positioned exactly, then you've got to basically use an absolute layout. But you can do a lot of stuff with a grid, so we'll try that. So let's do that. Let's just sort of jump straight into code. If anyone's got any questions or suggestions or you know, anything at all, just let me know. President, not sure how you're doing. Absolute layouts make my brain burn. Yeah, they do for me as well. I don't use them a lot. I think I used them in the last UI challenge, which I did a few weeks ago, which is where I was sort of flipping things around, and it was really important to get things exactly in the right place. But you know, if I'm just trying to do simple layouts, pretty much a grid is my go-to. Let's just glance over the existence of relative layouts, says Lachlan. That's absolutely right. Relative layouts are pretty much not recommended. I don't know anyone who uses them. And I think I heard once from the Forms team that actually it's a pretty bad idea to use them because they're not very performant. I don't know if performance is a word, but they don't perform very well. All right. So, cool. Yeah, and President Not Sure, yeah, go and have a look at the previous videos. So I think I've got a link there to my YouTube. Actually, this is something kind of funny. So I think my YouTube is, what is it? bit.ly/KP YouTube, right? This is kind of where I put videos out to. Right, under here, and there's a playlist, and UI challenges sort of go into here. So that's where I basically put things inside of there. The funny thing though is if I type that bit.ly link in wrong, somebody pointed this out to me. bit.ly/ I think I've got to go KP YouTube. Oh no, maybe it's changed. It used to take me to a Katy Perry page, which was pretty funny. Anyway, all right, let's get started then. Well, actually, I should mention other things that I've done here. I brought in the live XAML so as I can do live refresh, because I'm not quite as cool as Ryan using continuous, but I find this works pretty well if I'm doing UI stuff. All right, so let's spin this up and start developing it. So I'll start with Android. As always with Android, what I like to do is use an application called Visor. So what Visor allows me to do is basically mirror my physical device. All right, so here we are. This is our UI to begin with. There, good old welcome to Xamarin.Forms. All right, so let's go and have a look at our main page here. Let's start hacking on some code. So the first thing I want to do is want to get rid of this stack layout, right? So we'll get rid of that. Now I use something called XAML Styler, which, for better or worse, goes and formats my XAML. Alex says, can I increase the resolution of my screen so we can see the code? Not big enough? How's that? Is that big enough for you? And maybe what we'll do is we'll bring this over a little bit. We'll give this a little bit more space, shall we? How's that? That's better. Okay, cool. Okay, we mentioned we're gonna start out with grids. So let's throw ourselves a grid in here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set some row definitions. So what we'll do is we'll have 2 rows. So the first row is going to be for our image. So President Notzor says, cool, that helps a lot on YouTube actually because you can't zoom in on videos there. All right, fantastic. Alrighty, so row definition, we're going to have a height here. So this is going to be for the top section of our page where we've got the movie backdrop. So Alex says, did you enable the styler? I never can get it to work with Visual Studio 2019. Yeah, look what I use. Tools, extensions. Is that where it's gone? Has it gone under extensions now? That's like the most useless menu ever. It's like a menu with one thing in it. So what have I got? I've got XAML Styler. Okay, so XAML Styler, what it does is it basically styles my XAML. So if I was to, like indent this, and I say, okay, well, let's give this a height of 200. Okay, it'll basically, as I save, it'll style things for me. So we'll set another row in here, and this one wants to take up the rest of the page. So we'll say, let's make it a star. Beautiful. Okay, looking good. And we'll go ahead and we'll stick in an image, right? So this will be an image for the top. So the source for this, now, don't worry about my screen going black all the time. That's just because I in-tune this device, and so I can't change the timeout for it. But anyway, okay, so the source. Now I've got this, I've got a binding, right? Because I set the binding source. And so that's to a movie. So I've got a backdrop URL. Let's just see whether that comes in. Okay, so cool. We've got a backdrop. All right. So that's at the top. Now we want it to fill the amount of space that we have. So we change the aspect of this. So we'll say aspect fill. Okay, that's looking better. What else should we do? I might set an explicit height request on this to be 200 just to make sure that it's the right size. All right, cool. So that's our header image in here. Now, if we have a look at the design for this, let's come over. We'll go into Adobe XD. What we have is we've got this white gradient up the top here, right, that covers up from the bottom. Now, there's a few ways you could do this, I suppose. One way is to ski a sharp, a gradient over there. And that would be really useful if you're doing, say, dynamic gradients, right? Like Lachlan mentioned that if we scroll and you wanted this parallax and maybe we wanted to move or change this gradient in real time as we scroll, Probably Skier Sharp is how I would do that. Another really cheeky way you can do this is just, literally create yourself an image, right? Which is a linear gradient from basically transparent through to white. I think I've done these the wrong way around. But basically create an image like that we would then go and use and overlay over the top. And I've actually done that as well. So I think if I have a look in my resources here, I have this white gradient. Can't edit PNGs. That seems silly. Anyway, I'll show you what this is, right? So we'll just basically overlay this over the top and we'll see what we get. It's just a nice, easy way of achieving these gradients, which looks really great inside your application. So we'll throw another image in here. We're going to, the source for this is our white background. Where did that go? Okay, white background. We'll set it to be an aspect of fill. See if we can find it here, and we'll go and put this down the bottom, so of that first cell. So we'll say vertical options and doesn't look like we got it. Okay, if you can't work out where it's going, let's set a background color of red. See if we can work out where that's going. Where is that going? See if it's hiding behind this one. Oh, look at that. It's basically zero height, which is kind of interesting. All right, so let's give it a height request. Here we are. Okay, so that's basically where our image is. So now what I should be able to do, phone stays alive long enough. Come on, phone. Okay, background color of red. Get rid of that. I feel like I might have used the wrong name. Yeah, white gradient. That's why it didn't display, because I used the wrong name. There we go. So now we have this gradient that sits in our image. And you can basically put any image you want over top. So that's an important thing with layouts, is the order that these appear is the order that they're going to appear in the Z order. So for example, if I got, if I had this image here and this image was up here, then it would sit behind that other image, right? So that's a good way of setting the Z order. So let's put that down there. Cool. What else we got? We've got a play button that sits in the middle. All right. So we want to basically put this in the center. So we'll say, let's make it in the center. The source for this, I better check because I haven't been doing a great job of getting these right. Play button. Playbutton.png. Oh, I need to close my tag. There we are. We've got ourselves a play button that's sitting there horizontally in the center. It just happened to go in the center as well, but let's be a bit more explicit there. Beautiful. Hey, PT Dave. And hi, Alan. How you doing? Former Xamarin University student. Wonderful. Fantastic. Would it matter putting the button in a stack layout? So there's a question from Alex there. So this here, probably not in a stack layout. Stack layouts are a little bit hard to control the position of. And so I've put it inside of a grid. If that makes sense. But really it doesn't matter too much. But grids are really, really great for positioning things. All right, so we've done the first part which is pretty cool. We're only like half hour in. Wonderful. Now let's talk about this second section. So the second section we want to do, so this is going to be the bit that's a little bit complex here. So we want to have ourselves a panel that sits here. You notice that the gradient goes a little bit underneath here. So we have to consider that. And also this poster is going to sit somewhere here, right? And it's got to overlay this panel and overlay this other. So that'll be interesting. Okay. The rest of this stuff, Alex, we could certainly use stack layouts for this as well. It's like a stack layout going this way and a stack layout going that way, for sure. Alrighty. So what do we want? Let's put a grid in here. And we'll put this inside of, let's just create a grid first of all. And we'll put this in, it might make sense to put this in row 1. And we'll put a background, we'll just see where it is. All right, cool. So that's down the bottom section there. Now, what I might want to do here is, because I actually want it to overlay this section here, what I could do is, instead of putting it in row 0, in row 1, I could actually put it in row 0 and then set its margins so that it comes down, right? So that's another option that we have. So I could say, so what am I using to auto update my UI on the emulator? That's actually on a physical device. What I'm using is a little thing called Live XAML. So if I have a look in my dependencies, Live XAML is kind of like my go-to. There's a few different technologies. Like we could probably for a simple page like this, actually it's probably not going to display well. We could use a previewer, but I find it a little bit flaky. See, it's not really giving me anything good there. I know Ryan wrote an article today on using continuous. So here's something else to have a look at if you do coded UIs. So hopefully, Ryan, you don't mind me showing your blog here. So Ryan had a good blog post here, which I'll put out in the weekly Xamarin, where he talks about markup, using a coded based approach instead of a XAML approach. I won't get into that. Personally, I prefer a XAML approach. And then he talks about continuous as well. So continuous is another way of updating a UI, but from a code perspective. All right, so do go and check that out. All right, back to this one. So what I was going to do here is I was going to set some margins. So we want the main part of the UI. So President Not Sure says, isn't continuous not maintained? Yeah, that's my understanding. And I don't think, and Ryan would be better to speak at this because he's got this all working. I think he's got a custom branch of it that he's still maintaining, as in Ryan. I don't know. Ryan, maybe you can answer that question. Ryan's been writing updates. So hit up Ryan or R2AU and ask him about that, or have a look at his blog post. I'm sure you can reach out to him and find out some information. Really, Ryan says, I'm the only one, excuse me, that's keeping it alive. Yeah, it'd be great if you could publish it, Ryan. Fantastic. Thank you for the subscribe there, PT Dave. Fantastic, appreciate it. Yeah, so continuous is a product, like as in the iTunes Store version of it, as opposed to the plugin for Visual Studio for Mac. That's maintained, I'm pretty sure. I think Glenn uses it, right, for developing on your iPad on the go, which is pretty awesome. No jingle. Yeah, I'm having some troubles with my jingles. President Not Sure loves this jingle, which, and I do as well, which Glenn Stevens wrote for me. So I'll play it for you, President Not Sure.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
So Glenn, we'll have to do a stream together where you're on keyboards and I'm on a real keyboard. Yeah, that's Glenn Stevens' angelic voice. All right, what are we doing? We're gonna put this grid in here. So let's do this. Let's say we're gonna indent it a little bit from the right. We're going to put it down the page. We're not going to put it 200 down the page because we want it to overlap this a bit. So we'll put it down like 172. And the reason I got 172 was I basically went and had a look at these and added up some numbers. 172 is what I got. All right. 14 from the right, 0 from the bottom. And by the way, there's a lot of different ways you could actually sort of lay this puppy out as well. So this is just one way. Now, what else do we want to do? We've got our grid there. Let's give it a background color to see where it is. As you might notice, this is my favorite. Oh, I've already got a background color. This is my favorite trick for working out where things actually go. Okay, cool. So you can see that it's now overlaid on top of that gradient, which is what we're after. But it's in row 0. And so basically what we wanted to do was go down the whole page. So I can just do a grid.row span of 2. Here we are. And now it's occupying the full screen. So on my image for your background, shouldn't you use the URI image source for caching? Possibly. At the moment, like I said, I'm just going to focus on the layout. What I'd like to do is actually go and get this from, use something like FF image loading in order to pull those images down from the website and resize them. And that does caching for me as well. But yeah, definitely if you're doing an application where you're pulling down lots of images, you definitely want to do some caching, so as you're not hurting your internet. Also, images themselves already have some caching built in. If I remember correctly, I think the cache is for 1 day. Pretty sure Glenn told me that one. All right. So, all right, we've got ourselves something vaguely where we want it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put some additional elements inside of here. All right, so we want to. You can change it. Yeah, that's right, Glenn. You can change the amount of time that it actually caches for. Okay, cool. So let's get rid of that background color on there. All right. Now, I need to set the page background because the page background on this is not exactly white. So let's say background color equals, and I've got a resource set up for this already. So static resource, page color. Probably hard to distinguish it. It's just kind of slightly off white, which is normally a pretty good thing because, straight white and straight black generally look, it's better to be a little bit off, essentially. Okay, it just looks a little bit better. Now, let's go ahead. We've got ourselves a grid here. And we want to go and set ourselves some columns, or some rows and some columns. So we'll say grid.row definitions. And the rows that we want in this are basically giving us some area to put this stuff into. And really this grid is forming the basis of the page. So this grid is really occupying this whole section. And so there's going to be, in terms of rows, I'm going to have a row which sort of takes up that, probably that area. Okay. I'm going to have a row for that maybe. And then, you know, perhaps a row down here. So we'll throw a few rows in, we'll adjust it as we go. Okay, so first row definition. So we'll say the height of this. Now what I did is I went and added up these numbers in here. So if you have a look at there, 124 plus 14, 138. So that's going to be for the first section there. We're going to have another row. And this row is going to be 46 high. So you can see I'm being fairly specific with these values here. Next, I've got this sort of row here for this, for the gradient. I haven't really measured that out, but let's just make it the same as the button. And we'll throw one more row in here, which is going to be for the rest of the page. So it's going to be a height of star. Okay, what have we got going on? Let's have a look at our... Okay, so it's all looking a little bit boring at the moment. Let's put ourselves a box view in here then. So the box view, this is going to be for the main sort of content here. So we'll put this in grid row 0. We'll go ahead and we'll say its background color is white. Might be a little bit hard to see. We're going to give it a corner radius. Corner radiuses now support multiple values as well. So you can specify the top and the left corner. So in this, we have a little bit of a radius on the top and the left, nothing on the bottom. We should close that box view. All right, so you can see that there, right? So we've got that overlaying this. We probably want to go and stick in another box view for our button. Okay, again, you might want to use a button for this. At the moment, I'm just sort of focusing on the layout. So we'll say grid row is 1. Background color for this is static resource button color. And it's got a corner radius down the bottom as well. Radius equals 0, 0, 6, 6. All right, cool. So there it is. Now, if you look really carefully, you might notice that there's a space in between here. So grids by default have a row spacing. Row spacing, we'll set that to 0. Come on, phone. And we'll set our column spacing to 0, which is kind of normally my default, actually. All right, cool. So that's looking better. All right, so there's our section for this bit. Okay, now what do we want to do? We want to add a poster in here. So what I'm going to do, because this is overlapping all of these elements here, I'm actually going to stick it in the main part of the page and just position it where it needs to go. All right, and the reason for that is because if I was to put it inside of here, okay, I could certainly do that, and I could set a transform to move it up, right, to get it to overlap there. But the problem with that I can already see is that we've got this this image or this text here that wants to be clipped. Okay. And if I want this to clip and I say is clip to bounds, it would also clip off the top part of this image. Okay. So, and kind of after a while, after you've been playing around with stuff, actually kind of just implicitly sort of see this stuff. So I'm going to put it outside of this grid and then just go and kind of like manually position it. And again, this might be where an absolute layout would actually be a little bit nicer. So let's say I had an image here. Its source is going to be, and I've got a thing called poster URL. Let's go and pose a URL. That's not right. I've got a new keyboard. I'm not very good at typing on it at the moment. But it's actually a really cool keyboard. It's a here, let me show you. It's one of these fancy new Microsoft ones. It's got a fingerprint scanner on it, which is cool. All right, poses, exactly. Okay, post URL. So I put that in, right? And it's gone like smack bang right up the top here. So obviously we want to adjust this a little bit. We want to say, we want to actually specify the height and the width manually, because we want to be pretty exacting on this. So these are the sizes from there. We want to say, okay, well, let's make it to the start, which is probably where it is. We want to say, let's put this to the start. Hey, Clinton Rocksmith, cheering us 100 bits. Thank you. Good to see you. All right, so now we've put this in and it's gone, you know, up the top here. Right, so it's basically gone there. Nice to see you. I can't actually see you, but all right. Now it's up the top left. Let's go and give it a margin. So what I'm using this margin for is to go and position this so that it goes here. Okay. So again, absolute layout might be a friend here, but it's interesting to see that we can do it from a grid perspective as well. So our basic margin is 14. So we'll bring it in 28. We want to bring this down the page a little bit. If you go and have a look here, it's at 126 vertically. So 126 from the top. And we'll have 0, 0. Come on, phone. So let's see where that puts it. So that put it there. Vertical options. It looks a little bit small, doesn't it? So we've got a width request. We've got a height request. Why so small? Got vertical options of start. Oh, maybe we need a bit of aspect, right? Because that's let's go aspect fill. There we are. That's a little bit nicer. Okay, so it's now sitting there, and the reason it's cut off there is because it's sitting in grid row 0, and grid row 0 actually finishes here, doesn't it? Okay, which is why it's doing that. So we'll just cheat and we'll say grid row span equals 2. Beautiful. All right. Fantastic. So so we've got that there. Now let's go and deal with the details over here. So these details are going to be a little bit interesting. Have a look at what we're going to have here. We've got, let's assume we're going to have, a grid here. Let's put a grid here, and we'll have a row here. Sorry, a column here that'll space it out. And then maybe we'll have a column there. Sorry, a row there. Stack layout there, maybe. And probably a grid here. All right, let's just play around with some things and see what happens. So this is going to be back inside of this grid. So I want to add some column definitions. Hi, Why Bad Dragon. How you doing? Good to see you again. So what are we doing? We want a column. So this wants to be kind of a little bit wider than what our poster is inside of there, right? So our poster is 124. We had 28 on one side. Let's go for something like 150. We'll adjust it as need be. And then we'll have another column width of star to take up the rest of the space. Okay, now that's going to muck these up, right? So if I do a refresh on that now, let's have a look at what it's done. Okay, so now what it's done is it's sort of said, okay, well, everything's going into column 0. So I'm going to change that. We'll say grid dot row span, col span is 2. Yep, and we'll do the same thing down here. Cool. All right, that's looking better. Now, let's chuck in some other information here. So we want to create ourselves a grid here, I suppose, which is going to be for... This grid is going to be this section over here. So it's going to be for row 0. We want it to go into column 1. All right. So let's see what that gives us. Sure that we've got things in the right place. My default way of setting all this stuff up is again just testing things, is just go and setting a box view, just see where it goes. So why bad dragon, can't hear anything. Hopefully other people can hear things. Nobody said anything. Headset being dumb. Yeah. I'll be back in a bit unless my... Now you now have sound. We're back. So you know what I don't understand? I don't understand. I can see that it's dropping the video, but the chat doesn't drop. I don't know why that is. Anyway. Got it now? Beautiful. We're back. I'm going to change internet service providers, I think. Okay, so we got our section over here. That's where we're going to put things. Wonderful. So we know that that's right. Let's get rid of this box view. Okay, so inside of this grid, we're going to have a couple of rows. And we'll just have 2 rows in here. So we'll have height of star. We'll throw another height of star in here as well. Okay, so we're basically dividing that into 2 rows. And then we want to position our text in here. So the first thing we're going to have is we're going to have a stack layout, which is where we're going to show our movie name. Give this bit of a margin. Our default margin is 14 in this design. We want to center this vertically. So this is in the top row. So we're going to have a label in here. It's on the screen. And our text for our label is going to be the movie name. Okay. I've got a style set up already. So movie name. Let's see where that goes. Nowhere near where I thought it would go. Okay, let's have a look. A stack layout. Maybe we... why bad dragon? Grid.row definitions. It could well be. Let's have a look. Row definitions. I think they're right. So, yeah. You're absolutely right, Lachlan. I do want definitions. Yeah. So I want grid.row definitions. You're absolutely right. I've got streamer eyes on. I can't see what I'm doing. And then this needs to be a row definition. Correct. Okay. How's that? That looks a bit better, doesn't it? Yep. Absolutely. Thanks, Lachlan. Okay, so we've got a static resource. We've got movie name. I think that's the right thing. Let's just put in some text here. Hello. Okay, so my binding didn't work. So binding, what did I call that property? Yeah, that would be super nice, wouldn't it? If you could just do that and not have to have this. But, you know, and this is the problem with XAML, I suppose, or some of the reason people don't like it. It's very verbose. Let's see what I called this. Title. That's what I called it. So if your bindings don't work, this is what I do. I just, you know, stick in a value and then work out it's in the right place and then change it for what it should be. So this will be title. Zootopia. Beautiful. Okay, what else we got? We got another label, which underneath here is going to show the year. So let's say binding to release date. Wait, I'm PT Dave. If you bring your model down into a namespace and set your binding context to it in the XAML, you get IntelliCode for it inside of your layout. All right, let's have a look at that. So what are we saying here? We're saying XML, help me out here, PT Dave, because this sounds interesting. I think you can do this, but so if I said I've got a namespace here of I don't know, data. So what would I have to bring in here? I'd have to bring in the data namespace. Okay, so if I bring in model, like so. Is that what you mean? I don't think that will give it to me, will it? Can't spell label either. So then you do your binding context here. I think I'm going to have a problem here because I've got a collection. Right, and I'm actually just bringing in the first element of a collection. I'm not sure if I can do that. You know what I mean? So make it of the data type. I don't know. Let's. So I don't think we can do. Let's try it. Let's try it. So it's a static. So we've got a class of movie, right? So the namespace for this bad boy is Rotten UI Data Movie. I don't think I can do that. I think bad things will happen. Let's define CLN namespace. Didn't find movie, right? Because the namespace is data, right? But maybe model movie. Okay, so you want to set the binding context. Here. To model. I feel I'm doing this wrong. Model movie. Outside of the attribute. So as a something like this, binding context is then what a model colon movie. That. Yep. I don't suppose I can do that. That'd be nice, but I don't think I can. What's movie? Movie's a... Yeah, movie is... Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that, am I? No. All right. So I can see what you're doing. Maybe when we put a proper view model into this bad boy, we'll go ahead and do that. But it's cool advice. I'm gonna look into that. Now I've lost all my images. Yeah, okay. Let's see if we can get this back. Might have to restart it. Go Android deployment. All right. Let's just go with the old school approach here. All right. Release date. So we got a release date. Style, I think I've got a style for this. Let's have a look. Subtext. Okay. Cool, that would be all right. We want to, let's have a look at what we have. So that's Zootopia 2016, so that's there. Let's tackle these other bits before we put this bit in. So we're going to horizontal line in here, so box view for that. And then these are probably going to want to sort of space out in a grid. Let's try that. So first of all, let's do a box view with a height request of 1, vertical options of end, and background color, or color rather. Static resource. Put in subtext color. And that didn't do a lot for me, did it? Okay. Okay, there it is there. It's just really, really hard to see. Okay, so we'll give this a margin. We'll say it's going to be probably 0 from the left, 0 from the top, 14 from the right. Okay, we'll go with that. Beautiful. All right, what's next? Next, we're going to have a grid for our scores. Okay, so this grid is going to be in row 1. We'll see if we can get these row definitions right this time. Grid dot, column definitions. And we'll make these equally spaced. So normally what I do is, I think, I've got a few nested grids in here. That's okay. It might almost be time to start thinking about absolute layout. I'd love to actually try it with an absolute layout and see if it's easier. So maybe that would be something I'd do after the stream. Okay, so I've got both of those, and then what we'll do is we'll put in a stack layout in each of those. The stack layout is going to have an image. No. Oh, come on phone, you can do it. So we'll say binding to, it's not that, it's just a standard image. So let's have a look at what that is called. Rotten popcorn. Sounds horrible, doesn't it? Rotten popcorn. Cool, we got some rotten popcorn. And we want to have a label inside of there, and our text is going to be the audience score. It's a percentage, isn't it? Let me just check my reference here. Okay, so we've got a stack layout. We'll probably have another stack layout actually here. So in this cell, let's just think about this. In this, we've got a grid that goes there. We'll have a stack layout that goes down the page, and then the stack layout that goes this way. So we'll have sort of nested stack layout. I could probably do it with a grid, but anyway, let's try this. A stack layout. That's the vertical one. Let's do a stack layout horizontal. Okay, and this would be binding to audience score. Come on, phone. Okay, cool. So we'll put that in there. We probably want to apply some styling to this. And this is probably going to be the same as our movie name, I'm guessing. Okay. Cool. And let's do the same thing. Actually, we want one more thing. We want that horizontal. Then we want a label which says audience score. Is that what it says? Audience, just audience. The same font as that. Okie dokie. So we'll say that. And style is going to be the static resource subtext. What's that tag? Beautiful. Okay, we want to make this centered vertically. We want to reduce the padding between these elements. So normally the way I do that, because you don't have control over the line height, so I'll set a negative margin. So we'll say like -500, and that should hopefully bring those a little bit closer together. There we are, beautiful. Now we basically want the same thing. Oh, actually, let's throw a bit of a margin around here. Same margin that we had around everything else. So we'll make it 14 just to bring it in. Cool. We'll do the same thing in the second column. So we'll add this into grid.column1. Cool. But this time it is a different score. So this is our, let's come back, have a look. This is our tomato meter. And meter score. Where am I? Here we go. It happens to be the same value, does it? Okay, cool. And this is rotten tomatoes. No, don't like it. Rotten tomato. Come back here, phone. My live refresh died. All right, let's restart this. Why Bad Dragon? I can use a string format inside of there. Yeah, absolutely. So let's see if we can remember how to do string formats. So string format. Something like that. Hey, there we are. Awesome, My Bad Dragon. Spot on. I can do P, can I? Yeah, I suppose it's just a normal string for. That's a cool percent. 0 divided by 100, by 1,000. Let's just do this. Oh no, that's not going to work. All right, let's go with that. With that same string format, we'll jam it up on this one. Cool. How's that looking? It's probably all right. Cool. All right, what else we got to do here? I can turn my phone back on. Let's talk about this here. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this with text. Okay, so I actually created an image because it's kind of like not a normal font. Also, there's a problem with, well, not a problem. What Android does is it will clip out whole characters as well. So if you turn the clipping on, it will clip it out. So I've got an image. We'll put an image in there and we'll see how we go with that. All right, and obviously that image we would want to swap based on whether it's fresh or not. But at the moment, just while we're doing our layouts, let's just go with what we have here. So this goes behind everything, all right, which means that it's going to want to go behind the movie name. So it'll want to go here. It's called fresh. I think I call it fresh. Fresh. All right. So there it is there. All right. Which is cool, but I think what we really want to do with that is we could sort of space it out a little bit more, maybe, because part of the design is that they want it to have like a margin that sort of brings it in. Okay, or maybe we don't want to adjust the margin. Maybe we want to just translate it. So we could say translation X equals, I don't know, minus 30. Okay, and so that brings it in there. Might be a little bit too much. And the whole idea is it stretches out quite a way. So what we could do is we could actually do a margin. Let's try this. Come on, phone. Do I have a link to the original? Yeah, absolutely. I posted in chat before. Let me take you to the source page. There we go. So if I want to have a margin on this, I want to give it a negative margin to the right. Let's try this. Let's try 0, 0, minus, I don't know, minus 30, 40, 50, 40. Right. And so what that's doing now, might be a bit hard to see. You see how it's going outside of the box, right? What we would do is we would then come to this grid and turn it, oops, I just turned my phone off. And put in the is clipped. Is clipped to bounds. And if I say that's true, it should clip it here. There we go. So it's clipped it there, which is really, really nice. That's probably all right. Let's have a look. Perhaps I'll adjust the margin a little bit more. Bring that out. So make you go even more off to the side. There we go. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Get a little bit more, 55. I think if I tried to do that just with text, it's not going to work for us. All right, cool. I'd call that just about done. I don't like this here. This line's too thick, I think. Here's something interesting. I don't know how this works, right? So I've got this height request of 0.5. Sorry, of 1. If I change it to 0.5, it'll still be there. I don't know how it renders half a pixel, but anyway, it's half a DP, I suppose. Alrighty. Okay, I think we're done there. Let's go and, unless anyone else sees anything that needs changing, let's go and put some text in here and do a shadow. So this is going to be interesting. Right. Come up here where we've got our button. For the moment, I'm just going to make this a label. So for the text for this one is add your rating. They're rounded corners on the original on the cover art. Okay, cool. We'll put some rounded corners in. Let me just add this in first of all. Grid.row equals 1. Grid.column span equals 2. Turn my caps lock key off. Okay, we'll do this vertical centered, horizontal centered, style this. Oh, actually, so we'll set style. So I think the style of this pretty much the same as this one, just a different color. Hard working in a big font. And then we can override the color. Beautiful. All right. Rounded corners on the original. On the poster. Okay. An image doesn't have rounded corners. I don't think. Where's our poster? Down the bottom here. Yeah, we don't have a corner radius. So pancake view. The good old pancake view. Let's give that a go. I'm going to have to add the NuGet in here. So the thing I'm talking about is Xamarin.Forms pancake view. Okay, let's have a look at the chat here. Oh, okay. So let's have a look here. There's rounded corners in the original, yep. There's also a slight gradient that goes from transparent to white on the image at the top. Okay, so we did that, didn't we? Come back here, let's spin up our application again. So what we did is the Y-Bad Dragon, there is a gradient. We put a gradient there. So what we did is we got an image that was a gradient from transparent, and then went to white. And we overlaid that over top of there. So I think we got that gradient. Yeah, and then just overlaid it, exactly. So image button does have, Lachlan, a corner radius. Do we have an image button? Is there an image button? Let's have a look. Let's see what this does. So that's an image button. Does that mean we can click on it? Not sure if this is... Doesn't seem to be working for me. It could be one of those Android things where they don't like corners. Buttons. Let's go throw in Pancake View. I know Pancake View will probably work. All right. I know that you've got to do some setup for this, right? Pancake View, you can see I use it a bit. Being used to my keyboard. Pancake View, that's what we're after. And add that in everywhere. Now, there's no initialization, is there? That's required. We've got to set up a namespace. Let's steal that line of code there to do a namespace. Oh no, my Visual Studio's gone milky. Oh, it's back. All right. Let's add that namespace in. But let's not call it yummy. Let's call it pancake. Try and wrap this image in a pancake view and see how we go. Y-Bad Dragon. Got to go do a deployment. Have fun. Good luck with it. Hopefully back before you sign off. Yeah, hopefully I'll see you back. Otherwise, have a great weekend. What version of Forms am I running? I think I have the latest version. 4.0.0. So that's what I'm running there, Lachlan. Image button with a radius is working for you. All right. Should we spend some time try and work that out then? Let's do that. Corner radius. Just put in a big one. No, not working for me. Let's throw a pancake in. Throwing a big one to start with. So the pancake view just wraps whatever you want. Turn this back to an image. And I'm going to have to grab some of these values here. In fact, the sizing will be in the pancake view, I think. Let's try this. Wristband there, margin there, doesn't have an aspect. Phone doesn't have a source. That didn't work very well. Maybe we need to get rid of that out of here. Okay. Rid of the margin out of there, maybe. Got rounded corners. Why no rounded corners? So no, it's not to do with the margin. Do I have to clip it? Ah, there we go. That's better. Is clip to bounds. Bit big. Let's try and make it 20 maybe. There we are. So now we've got some rounded corners. Beautiful. All right. How are we doing now? I think that's okay now. What does clip to bounds do? Clip to bounds, PT Dave, basically is on a container. It says if something draws outside of its size, don't render it. The best way of showing it here is probably, see this fresh that I have here? See how it's chopped off there? That's because that grid has clip to bounds. So if I turn that off, you'll be able to see it. If I can find it. So here, if I turn that to false, you see this overshoots here. But if I want it to clip it to the bounds, I say true. Oh, beautiful. Might help you with something. Yeah, it's something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily know about. It's very, very useful, particularly if you're trying to overlay elements. All right. So what have we done? We've done this first section. Let's do the bottom section here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a skier canvas in here, right? Because if I was to put, yeah, frames have terrible looking shadows, right? And this has a very specific look to it, right? So the weird thing about this shadow is that it doesn't actually go the full width of this. And it's sort of, I don't know, it's kind of, it's not really a shadow of this button at all. So I'm going to do this with Skier because I know you can do drop shadows in Skier. So I'm going to have to add in Skier Sharp. Let's draw some arcs. Whoop, whoop. Skier Sharp forms. I think that's our one that we're after. In this case, I don't actually think it's an arc, Lachlan. I think it's actually kind of just like the shadow of like a rectangle or a rounded rectangle. You know, we'll find out if my Visual Studio comes back to life. Back? Yep, we're back. All right, let's add some skier. Whoop, whoop. So this is going to want to go into this row here. Hey, Clinton's back. Hey, Clinton. Cheered one bit. One whole bit. Thank you, Clinton. Your cheers are always appreciated. I think 1 bit translates to 1 cent. Here in Australia, we don't have cents, actually. So, or 1 cent. So I'm gonna have to save them up. It'll go into my piggy bank. How about that? Lachlan, 1 bit. Eventually, I'm gonna be able to buy myself something. That's gonna be awesome. Although, actually, I'm gonna donate any money on the channel to charity, because if I do it through Microsoft, then they'll double it. So that's awesome. All right, so we're gonna have a skier view. Skier needs a paint surface. 3. There, that makes 5. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So we've got ourselves a paint surface. We need to put this in the right place, which is going to be the same as this, except it's going to be row 2. Row 2. Now I just need to check that this is in the right place. So again, we can do something like set a background. An anonymous cheered 1. Fantastic. An anonymous user cheer. Thank you very much. Totally going to be rich by the end of this. What am I doing? I'm just waiting to deploy this. I haven't drunk my coffee. When you do an Android deploy, it's a good time to get the coffee back out. Come on, Android. Come on, Android. You can do it. PT Dave says, when you do iOS deployment, it's best to take deep breaths. I find mine's not too bad normally. Not, I mean, to real devices, it's terrible, but to simulators, I find it pretty good. I'm going to set background color on this. Again, just to see where it is. Okay, that's where I want it to be. That's where my paint canvas is. So now is where I wish I was Ryan and I had code reloading, because I've got to do the skier stuff in code. So we've got this method here. All right. So what we want to achieve here is basically when you get a paint surface, normally you get an SK image. Is that right? Yeah, an S. Using Skier Sharp. Yeah, SK image info. Yeah. So let's bring up the docs. The docs are actually pretty good on this. Because I'll never remember how to do it. Skier Sharp, Xamarin.Forms. Integrating with Xamarin.Forms. We've done that. Right, this is what I'm after. So we always start off with this pretty much. All right. Except, of course, it's called my arg something different. Cool. So now, we create ourselves a paint object. Okay. If we want to dispose of that, which we probably do, we'll add a using around it. Okay. Now what I want to do is define the color for the shadow. Okay. So if we're going to define the color for a shadow, I'm going to assume that it's going to be the same color as our button. You know, defining colors in Skier, I'm never sure how to do it. There's a way to get the hex value. Lachlan told me once, actually, because I can do it like this way, from hex, and then grab the color for the button. So maybe if Lachlan's still here, he can remind me. It's just an override somewhere, right? Because I can do that. I can do get a color, something like that. Hello. Lachlan, what was you showed me once, or you told me once how to get a color, not going through a Xamarin.Forms color and then converting it to an SC color. And I would have thought it'd be like SK color from X. I don't know, is it? Yeah, the froms don't give me the froms I want. Oh well. If you find it, we'll improve a little bit later on. So we've got our shadow color. Now we're going to paint onto to the page. We're doing a shadow, which means we probably want to say there's a couple of properties. Is dither, which means it's going to create a nicer shadow. So we'll set that is dither equals is dither. True. Probably anti-aliased is true as well to give us nice colors. The color we're going to paint with is equal to a shadow color. Okay. And let's have a look at some code here on the docs page, because they have something here about shadows. It's either shaders, blend modes, image filters. So we can create a blur, which might be what we're after, but I thought there was a drop shadow as well. Here we are. Create drop shadow. Let's copy some of this code. Come on, mouse. We go full screen here for a second. Okay, paint image filter. Create a drop shadow. So this is the offset from the so the offset that we're creating the drop set, and then the sigma X and the sigma Y are going to tell us how big the drop shadow is. So the cool thing here, right, is that you can say, I want to just draw the shadow on the foreground, or you can say, I just want to draw the shadow. All right, so if I was, so maybe what I can do here is I can say, so dx is 0, dy is 0, sigma x. Okay, so this is how big we want the drop shadow to be. I don't know, 40. Sigma y, 40. Found it, Lachlan? Beautiful. Oh, is that what you're talking about? Extension method. I think that's the one I'm using, right? To SK color. So this is Xamarin.Forms color to SK color. Yeah, I think maybe there isn't a better way. So the question was, I thought there was a way. So at the moment, what I'm doing, right, is I'm creating a Xamarin.Forms color, and then I'm casting that to an SK color, or, using this extension method. And I thought you mentioned somewhere where I could do something cool, like, like create an SK color and then put the value in. But maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe I'm dreaming. All right, so the last thing we want is we want to give it a shadow mode. Shadow mode. And in our case, like, we could be able to set the shadow mode, right? We kind of want to draw a shape, right? To have it cast this shadow from, but we actually don't want to draw the shape. We just want to draw the shadow. And that's a cool thing here. You can say, hey, just draw me the shadow. I'm going to pretend to draw an image. You're just going to draw the shadow for me. All right, let's space this all out a little bit here. Color, shadow mode. All right. And so now what I should be able to do is just work out a rectangle, right? Or right. So I'll declare like it's got a margin that comes in from the side. Okay, so the shadow, it's kind of like this, right? There's an object here that it's casting the shadow from. So I'm going to say, like, I don't know, that's like 10%. So bring it in from 10%, draw this object, cast that shadow. I'll see what it does. So we can say info width divided by 10. And create ourselves a rectangle. And let's call it, I don't know, back. So we can create a rectangle then for, so we'll say, bring it in from the margin. We're going to make it off the screen. Well, let's just try putting it at 0 first. Then we'll say the width, which is the info.width minus the margin. And the height. Okay, so 20. I don't know. Let's just find out what it does. Oh, skcolor.tryPars. That looks slightly less efficient. I mean, realistically, what I should be doing here, right, is I should be getting it from my resource anyway. So let's just try this. Let's say canvas.draw. Let's just draw a rectangle on those bounds. With my paint object. Let's see what happens. Oh, what does that want? An SK rect? Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't like trypars much either. But you can do this now, right? You can do something like, can you do something like SK color, trypars. I don't know why I like having that thing in there. And then I could say, yeah, inlining your out. Yeah, so you can say out. I don't know. Did we say new? I can't remember how to do it. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, it does. It does, you're right. And that would define it. Anyway, let's go with this one. Absolutely right, Lachlan. That snippet does do it. Okay, let's wait for it to actually go and run. Maybe we're running already. Ooh! Here we are, we've got a shadow under there. Beautiful. Probably want to make it a little bit more prominent, maybe, but there's definitely a shadow there. Let's try playing around with this a little bit more. So maybe instead of a rect, let's draw a rounded rect. Make sure that we get corners on that bad boy. We have our bounds. We can define our radius, which is 10, say. Paint object. So I think let's try this. Let's try drawing it off the screen. See how we go. That's pretty good. I think it might be. I'm going to just have a quick look at here. I want to see if that is clipped. It doesn't appear to be. By bringing that onto the page a little bit more. What do you think of that? It's not too bad. Don't mind that. I think we could probably play around with a little bit more, get some more, but you know, that's the general concept, right? Of getting that that nice shadow underneath there. So I could probably play around with this for ages. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just continue on, and then I can sort of play around with that value a little bit later on. That's pretty cool though, right? Having a shadow going with skier. All right. Now let's do the last part of this page that we'll tackle today. In fact, you know what I might do? I might take a really quick break. Quick bio break. So I'm going to hit my my break button, which doesn't actually do anything, and I'll be back in 3 minutes. As they say, anyone leaves, they get banned. All right, so let me just take a moment, stretch it out, and then I'll be back. Alrighty. And I'm back. Let's just check. We got audio? Yeah, we got audio. All right. Beautiful. And back. Cool. Okay. Let's talk about this bottom section. What do we want to do with this bottom section? So my feeling is what the designer was after here was there's tabs across the top here. These are like tabs. We can tap on each of these and then it will go to different sections. So I don't have all the data for all of these, but I got some info data, I got some cast data. And then my assumption, like Lachlan mentioned this earlier on, does the whole thing scroll? I think the idea here is that just this section scrolls, you know, and so you'd be able to scroll through a list of characters, cast members. All right, the tricky bit here, or the interesting bit, is that it's not really like kind of proper tabs. This is a pretty common UI though. I'm not aware of any Xamarin.Forms components that will sort of do this for you, so we'll bake our own. But the idea is if I was to tap on this one, this line would move across under here. Cool. All right, let's give this a go. Now, there's probably a little bit of complexity in this as well, so I think we should do it in another content view. It looks like the top tab bar controller built into Shell. Yeah, maybe. I haven't looked at it. I haven't looked at Shell nearly enough. I think... Yeah, I'm not sure how I used it in the middle of my page either. You know, it's not actually that hard to build something like this anyway, because all I'm going to have is my theory anyway. I'm going to have a grid with maybe 3 rows in it. Right, something like that. That's going to be a grid across the top with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns in it. And then basically just have a content section in here. You could have all the content sections, and then just as we click on any of these, we just swap the content or show and hide the content. That's, you know, so we'll build our own. It's good exercise anyway. But I'm going to do it in a separate file, I think, because it might get a little bit hefty in terms of XAML. So I don't want this XAML page to blow out too much. So I'm going to create myself a views here. Wow, I have no idea what has to happen then. Rename this folder. I'm still running, that's why. Rename this to views. I want to add a new content view. Call it like a details section, details tab, details section. All right. And so in our details section, we'll have a grid. We'll have 3 rows in it, as we mentioned. The first row is going to be just as high as the label, so we'll say make it auto. Second one is for that little bar, and the third one is for the content, so it's going to take up the rest of the space. Something like that. Okay, and then actually let's go and bring this into our main page. And run this so we can see what we're doing. So now we're going to work out where I'm going to put this. I think it's going to go... This is always the challenge, isn't it? What's this grid? That's our movie information. Okay. So it's going to go in this grid here, I think. So we need to add a namespace in, first of all. XML and S. Views equals. Views, cool. think it's going to go on grid row 3. Do we create a third row? I created a second row. Okay, let's have a look at that. So we'll say grid row 2. Just put that in there for the moment. Run it up so as we can see what's happening. Where's my screen? Okay. Cool. So let's do this. Let's set a background color on this so we can see where it is. Okay, it's there. All right. Right where we want it. Do we have a row 3? Right. This one here. Okay, cool. So a row 3 needs to go across 2 columns. All right. And let's give it a margin at the bottom. Margin. Yeah, it's already got a margin around there, so 14. Beautiful. All right, so that's our bottom tab section. So now we can start playing around with this. So first, let's go and add in each of our headers into here. Put in row 0. Okay, we'll say we want this to have a grid.column definitions. How many tabs do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll assume they're all equally spaced. 5. And just for giggles, let's just put in a label. See if it appears in the right spot. Okay, good. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, what do we got? I'll move this onto my other screen here so as I can info, cast, news. Well, that song finished quickly. Critics and media. Grid.column. This is the most annoying thing about grids. Actually, I'm going to change these values. All right, cool. But there's our tabs, if you like, across the top. Of course, we want to add a style into these. Here's my favorite feature. Not my favorite, but here is a cool feature of Visual Studio. It's the fact that I can come in here and I can highlight all those rows and go style equals Makes me feel 5 times more productive. But my IntelliSense doesn't work. What do I call it? Tab label. Cool, kept it. Tab label. All right, they're there. Oh, really did bad things, didn't it? All right. Grid dot column equals 0. Get rid of that horrible red background. All right, we're looking good. This one here wants to be the selected tab. Yeah, cool. Now we've got those. Next, we're going to add in a box view. For our line. Cool. We got ourselves a line. That's kind of what we're after here. And then we have the content area. Okay. So this is where things are going to get special. So what I'm going to do, yeah, let's just do this, right? So I've had a box view here of yellow. Dot row equals 2. Right, so that's our content area. Now we're faking out some tabs here. So really what I want to do is I want to know when somebody taps on any of these, and I want to swap the content here. Probably what I could do here is just have all of the content sitting there and just fade it in and out. That might make a nice effect. So perhaps we could do that. Now, what I want to do is I want to detect tabs. And this feels a little bit clunky, but it'll be interesting. So if I said, I'm going to give each of these a name. Let's just try this. So this will be info tab. Time for lunch, Clinton. I'll probably have this done by the time you get back from lunch. News tab. But one bit. See, now I can buy myself lunch. Thank you, Clinton. Come back, join us when you come back. Tell us what you had for lunch. All right, so this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to say, oh, actually, before I do that, let's go and add in a little box view. Box view, color, orange, 5 high. That's not where I wanted it. So this is the little Okay, you're going to do a little bit of a walk to beat me. So Clinton recently got an Apple Watch, and I've got an Apple Watch as well. And so we're in a competition for most steps or whatever for the week. All right. This wants to be in grid row 1 rather. Okay, we want a horizontal options of start because that will stop. There we go. But we'll make that centered. There we go. Cool. So now we've got our little pill, right? And theoretically what we can do is when we tap on each of those, each of the different sections here, I'm thinking we go translation X equals like, yeah, come on phone. We could say translation X equals, I don't know, 100, right? And then it would move across, right? So we just go and get the position of whatever label is selected on and then transform it to there. So that's my idea. That's what we'll go with. So of course, what I need to do is I need to know about these sections and I need to detect taps on them. Could I do buttons? Would buttons work? I'm going to want to change the style. Let's just go with the simple approach first. The simple approach is just to say, hey, you know what? Let's go and add a gesture recognizer. Tapped. It's going to require me to stop here. All right. And what I can actually do, so we're going to add that tap gesture recognizer to all of these. I feel like a button may be a better option, but let's just get it working here first. So we have that. Let's get it moving first of all. So in my code behind for this page, or this content view, got my tap gesture recognizer. The sender is going to be the label, okay, that we're doing. And then what we want to do is we want to have a method. I'm going to do some animation, so I'll make it an async. Okay, and let's go show selection. All right, so we'll navigate the selection, we'll reveal the contents. So I've set this same gesture recognizer up for all of the different labels. So what I should be able to do is just use the one gesture recognizer, but I'm going to create myself a list. Okay, and this is where things might get a little bit nasty. List. List of labels. So let's we'll write this like this, and then we'll improve it a little bit later on. So basically add each of those elements in. What do we have? We had the tab, we had news, we had critics. Is that right? Tab, oh no, tab. We had a cast tab. And we had a media tab. They're in the same order they were in before. Okay, cool. So now we've got that, we've got a selection. So what we can do is we can say, let's start off by navigating the selected pill. All right, well, first of all, let's go and work out which tab we're at. So we've got tab headers. So the sender is going to be a label. So we could say tab headers dot index of sender. We'll need to cast it to a label. Something like that. That should give us our tab index. And then I'll make this an async because we're going to do some animations. We'll say await show selection, and we'll put the tab index in there. And what we're going to do is we don't want to navigate if we're on the same one. So we'll just say if the new tab, whoa, so much yelling. If the new tab is equal to the selection index, we'll just return, do nothing. And then what we'll do is we'll say, let's get our underline. Give that a name. So that's our selection underline. And we'll say basically selection underline. Let's get the selected tab first, the selected label. And then let's get that as selection underline dot and adjust our translation. So we'll say translate this to the X, which would be at L dot, so our label bounds X. We do want to translate Y. Hey, Y Bad Dragon, your deployment went well. Wonderful. You done. Okay, we're just putting a bit of code in to navigate between these various tabs. Let's have a look. Okay. Oh, we didn't update the selection count. Okay, but cool. We got that moving along the line. That's good. Translation. Maybe we'll add a bit of an easing function into it. Might be cool. We need to set our selection index onto the new index. Now, what we also want to do is we want to update the style of the header to show it's selected. So we should be able to say l.style equals, and then we can get our style from our resources. Okay, because we had some resources. One was called select a tab. Why about Dragon? An app I've been developing to replace a third party that was supposed to go live 2 months was forced to go out 2 days ago due to an error caused by the third party. Ugh, so the last couple of days you've been dealing with errors. Oh man, it sounds nasty. So this should work, I think. So we're basically pulling in the style. We're setting the style of the selected label, but we should also change the style back to the old tab. So if we said tab headers selection, which is the existing selection, change that to tab label. Yep, cool. Change the name of this variable to something a bit more meaningful. Okay. What I should do first of all is I should set those styles on those labels to begin with. So the first one's going to be selected. Oh, it is selected. Okay, cool. See how that goes. Running? Oh, okay, we're running. Okay, info. Oh. Ow. Okay, that didn't work. What did I do? Guy referred to a style that didn't exist. Oh, it definitely exists. Selection index is 0. Going to 1. Pulling the style. Okay, that's not what we're after. What are we doing there? So we're saying the tab headers for the selected index. Actually, you know what? That's probably not what we're after anyway, because we want to set the, we're going to select that selection. Oh no, that's all right. This dot resources dot tab layout, tab label. We had a style called that. Don't we have a style called tab label? Looks right to me. Just do something up here. Let's create. Okay, let's just get our so we get our tab headers selection index. That will give us a label. We set its style to be unselected. And we'll set the new one to be the selected style. All right. Try specifying application resources. As for Roth, what do you think? So, I think it should be fine. Let's have a look. So, I think that's going to be it though. Application current dot. Why don't I have a? Let's get rid of that highlight. It's annoying me. So if we say, but it should inherit down. Yeah. So application dot current dot resources, which doesn't exist. Let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. Do it here too. Let's try it out, as for Roth. I normally just say this. Because it inherits down, I thought. What? There we go. Spot on. As for Roth and Why Bad Dragon, you win the internet. Sweet. All right. So now we kind of got tabs, right? Because animations are cool. Can we do translate to? Let's do this. Let's say, let's make it a little bit faster. And let's add an easing into it. Yeah, cool. All right. So that's kind of like a let's call it a poor person's tab. All right. Now, let's just do one last thing before we finish up the party. And that would be to add the actual tabs themselves. So let's do that. I'm going to run this so I can play with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have each of the tabs in there, right? So it's going to basically be like grid row 2, and right. So let's say this is our info panel. Okay, and in fact, you know what? We can actually do this we can actually do this one right now, because this is literally going to be just a label with, I actually created some information. So info. Wow. Okay, let's give that some styly style. And make it the same as the subtext, and throw a bit of margin in. I think. Sure, let's go with that. Actually, it's probably not that readable, is it? Although that's what we have. Let's just pump its font size up a little bit more. There, that'll do, donkey. All right, so we want that to fade in and out. In our cast, we want to have let's do this. Hello, James Montemagno. Raiding with the party of 11. How you doing, James? Dan C was there. Welcome. What have you been up to, James? You been doing anything fun? Raid. James, you been doing fun things? Ah, new merge conflict live. Is that every time this week? I caught it last week, and it was awesome to watch. I loved it. I loved seeing what was happening behind the scenes. Basically, whenever I force Frank to do it. Well, Frank's a busy man. He's a politician now. So, so great. Can't wait to hear it. All right. So, well, I'll tell you what we're doing right now, in case anyone, we're talking Swift UI. Yeah. I want to learn Swift UI. I'd love to know Frank's, I'd love to know Frank's take on it. But, yeah. Anyway. Back from lunch. Clinton's back from lunch. Hey, Clinton, James has just dropped in. I'll have to listen to the podcast on Monday. Well, I don't know, because I'm a Patreon supporter of Merge Conflict. As I know, Clinton is, because he got some mad GIFs from you that he posted up. So, I think I get to listen to it early, right? So if you listen to Merge Conflict, you should be a Patreon supporter. All right. Someone's got to save the monkeys. Exactly. All right. So what are we doing at the moment? We're right now. We've got this. We basically built up this UI. We're just putting some tabs in here, some fake little tabs. As we tap on them, they move across. So welcome to everyone who's joined from the raid, by the way. Alrighty, so we're going to put in some content here for the cast, and I'm just going to use a list view for this. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just make sure I got it in the right place. So I'll put a bit of a red background on it just to, yep, that looks like the right place. Now I'm going to remember how to do list views. And of course, James is probably thinking, why are you doing that? Why aren't you using a collection view? Well, I probably will eventually. All right, so let's put in a list view. List views need a list view item template, and that needs a data template, and that needs a view cell inside of there. And then we have our content. Beautiful. Our item source for this one. Clinton, that's amazing. Thank you, sir. Whoop, whoop. So, no, you're amazing. Thank you so much, Clinton. I don't know what they pay you, but it must be a lot. Fantastic. Thank you, sir. And Phil Powers, or Philip Hours, or however you pronounce that. Thanks so much for the follow. Clinton was just generous enough to go and throw some pride bits around. Amazing. Thank you, sir. All right, what are we doing? We're let me finish this before I lose track of what I'm doing. Let's have a look at what's happening on my screen here. Okay, I'm gonna just hide this bad. Wowzers. Oh, view cell must have a view. Good point. All right, let's being me, it's always gonna be a grid. It's always gonna be a grid. Let's hide this one for a moment. I'm going to set its opacity to 0 because what we're going to do is we're going to fade them in and out because everyone loves animations, right? Okay, so we'll get rid of that one. You can see there we've got a list view down here. If you look really carefully, I don't want any margins. Okay, so for those of you who are wondering, by the way, what am I basing this on? What am I talking about? We're basically recreating this UI. So we've done most of it. We've done a reasonable job. We've got some funky shadows in here. We've got some gradients. We've got some overlapping elements. Just going to, fake out these tabs down the bottom. So for the cast, we're basically going to have, James is possibly still here. We're going to use James's image circle image plugin. to create some circle images, and we'll put some data in here and we'll fade those in and out. Use a frame for what? Frame plus visual. For which thing? Oh, really? Corner radius for the circle. All right. Well, James, let's do that thing. Okay, so we're going to put a grid in. Irazo, thanks for the follow. Thanks for joining us. All right, let's test this out. Let's see whether what James says is true. And I always believe James. So we're going to create the layout. We're going to have a couple of columns. First column is going to have our image in it. The second column is going to take up the rest of the space. So this is going to be a star. All right, let's bring this over here. I want to get rid of those lines in here. So there's a separator somewhere. Separator visibility. We'll set that to none. Or nah. Separators? Nah. That's not right. It's none. All right. Cool. I'm running out of space here because my font's so big. So here we want to have an image, and our source image for this is going to be our cast, actually, image URL. Okay, cool. So we've got some image URLs. We probably want to set some spacing here. Something, what is it? Item line height, something height, row height. We'll set it to like 75. Go. Now, what was James saying? James was saying use a frame plus visual. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. So you're going to say have a frame. Oh, live share you. Oh, you want to? Shall we? Do you want to? Don't tempt me. Slack me, bro. Do it. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hang on. Come at me, bro. All right. I have no idea how this is going to work. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to I say sharing. Oh, then you got to ring you. Okay, cool. Oh, this is going to be special. Okay. Bear with us, people. This could go horribly wrong because none of this was planned. All right. So I'm going to post that live share link in. Now I'm running. I don't know if that's going to cause a problem. Anyway, live shared. And I'm going to put Slack, if I can, through my chat channel. All right, Mots, you good if I call you on Slack? I'll turn this music down. Ah, he's joined. Look at that. All right, let's see what happens here. So I'll need all of you in the chat to tell me whether you can hear him or not. You're in do not disturb mode. Bien, muy bien, estupendo. Can anyone hear? Can anyone hear James? No. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wait on. Here we are. I reckon this. I'm going to put it out to my system, and then because I got this amazing. Let's route my system out to my broadcast mix.
Oh, and your camera's purple. That's cool.
Did my camera go purple?
You know, Slack. That's what happens when you use Slack. Oh, they can hear me now. Okay, there you go.
They can hear you. Fantastic.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so all you got to do. So let me get my mouse over here. Are you live Xamaling? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, it's right here. So let's see what happens when you go and change it.
Oh yeah. So let's say you want to. This is what I do. Okay. So let's say you want to come in and let's not do like an auto height. We'll do 80, and then what you do is you wrap that puppy in a frame. Okay. And then what you do then is you say, okay, like height request. There's no IntelliSense, so this is great. I'm imagining that I know it from scratch, right? So, and then we'll do like width request. I have like Xamarin.Forms memorized, so it's like boom. And then you say like corner radius equals 40, right? Because half of it. Sure. And then you hit save. And that'll work. Yeah. You don't even need visual. You don't even. You probably want visual though.
Can you see what it did?
Yeah, see what I did there. And then here's the trick though. Ready? So then what you got to do? It looks terrible. You're like, James, this looks terrible.
James, and then this does look terrible.
You do padding of 0 because the default padding is about 5 billion. And then is visual on the entirety of your thing?
Visual's not on at all.
Oh, okay. Do you have it installed?
No.
Okay, well then we'll just do false, and then we'll go from that.
Let me save it for you.
Yeah. I don't think it has drop shadow, but whatever it is, you're gonna have to fill it in.
Nope. Okay.
Yeah, what is it? It's like something drop shadow.
Something shadow false.
Has shadow. There we go. There you go. Now what does it look like? It's cool. I get to see the delay on the live stream, so I get to wait around. It's not quite live. You know what I mean? On the live example.
Well, actually, as it turns out, I don't think this is updating either.
Oh, and then you probably need to do like aspect.
To fill.
Aspect equals.
Let's test your memory.
Oh god. Fill. Aspect
fill, I reckon.
Yeah. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't think it's live updating though. Let me stop it and start it.
Okay. I trust you. And then you could do something like you have like a padding in here of like, I don't know, I just want to use the preview. It works. Serious. That's what I use it on my streams. This is great. Then you can use design time data, and then boom. Sure. It's a great day for everyone involved. That doesn't look right. Then you need to do is clipping.
True.
I don't fill that in for me.
Yeah, okay.
Fill it in for me.
Here we go. Is clip to bounds. True.
True. Yeah.
Slightly squishy heads. I think we need to set a width on this image. What do you reckon?
Yeah, probably. Oh, you know what it is? Hold on. No, hold on.
What?
Oh, your height row is different. Okay, so let's do, no, that's not right. You want to do has uneven rows equals truth up top. I put that up top. Don't change that. You're good.
Beautiful.
I'm pretty sure it's not the property name because I'm an idiot. I don't know how to spell a name. Hey!
Look at that.
Look at that.
Oops, don't do that. There we go. James just made his circle plugin redundant.
That's correct. And also there's no subclassing, anything you need to do. And what's cool is that if you put it in a frame, you could actually get the drop shadow.
Yeah, true. Let's see what it looks like, just out of interest.
Or with the drop shadow. Yeah, because on iOS it'll probably look terrible, but on Android it would look pretty good.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want those.
Yeah. Yeah. But there you go. Look at that. Custom control, no extra packages.
I love it. I love it.
Just, a little help from America.
Yeah. See, this is how all coding should be done, right?
With a 10-second Twitch delay.
Yeah, exactly. And like a weird camera that's gone psychedelic.
I like it. I like the camera. It's cool. Now what you can do now though is you can come into your all right, let's do this though. Let's head over into your app XAML, right? And then what you can do is like you could create, you could just create inside of here your own circle image style.
Yes.
And then boom, you're good to go.
True.
So anyways, that's probably what I would do. Like for the cast, I mean, the heights and the sizes, what you could do, let's try this. Well, the thing with this, here's the difference, okay? The problem, the downside of using a frame in this instance is, one, I don't know if it works on Windows, but it definitely works on iOS and Android. But it should work it because corner radius is built in. The problem is that you need to know the corner radius. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you could create your own. Probably a better way of doing it is creating your own circle frame. Okay. And then you always set the corner radius. You say height and width requests are always the same. And then the corner radius is always half of it. Right. And that's really what you would want to do. In probably my overall opinion, set that to auto. That should fix then. I bet if you just set it to auto, the width. Because now we're just manually doing stuff, but that should work.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks, James.
Wow. Look at that. It's like I've done this. I just did this recently in the Xamarin.Forms app because I did this and I was using a font. Because here's the benefit, right? There are two controls here in your view. The difference that you have is with the circle image, it can only be an image. So what I did recently is I was using like fonts and doing a bunch of cool font stuff. Oh, that'd be cool if you could do corner radius 50%.
Yeah, like 0.5. That'd be awesome.
No, do 50%. Does that work? That doesn't work.
No, there's no way that works.
Do 50%. Does it work? It's got to throw an exception.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
You could do like a converter probably.
Yeah, true. You could just bad things happened. Holy moly, cool. Look at this.
Oh, well, that's not good.
That's not good at all.
What is that? What is going on here? Who knows?
It's
third-party plugins.
It's a minified CSS. I've never seen this before. That's beautiful.
Yeah, you're welcome. And there you go, exploring new things.
This is because I'm using live XAML. This wouldn't happen in the previewer.
No, it would not. This would render correctly too. Have you not used design time data? We can make this all amazing right now.
I have, well, let's have a look. You want to have a look? I mean, what do you just?
No, I'm just curious what you're doing in life. That's all.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
All right.
Did you use design time data in this? Where is this? Where am I?
No.
Cast content.
All right. Well, let's do this. So if we went and
do you have an object? You have a cast object, right?
I do. It's
right there.
It's inheriting, from its
cast member. Oh, I see. So have you done this? Have you added the D colon up top? Oh, it's already there.
It's already there.
Amazing.
It comes in now.
Okay. It opened. Okay. So where are you right now? I'm looking at your screen. You're in, this image thing. Oh, this is perfect. Okay. Watch.
Yeah.
So, right. So do some red there and then, it's going to type and then it's going to update. Bam. Look at that. That's great.
It's beautiful.
Anyways, you don't want to do that. That's a bad idea. So what you want to do is this. You do this, right? So you come in and I'm going to need to go to documentation. Please hold. You type in Xamarin.Forms previewer design time data. It's cached as my #1 result. Maddie wrote phenomenal docs, just completely crushed it. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to blow your mind over here, and then we're going to come in here and we're going to say, well, how do I get data in here? Great question, Kim. You just simply add a design time array of items.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you do inside of here is you come down into your shenanigans and you say like label d:\text, and then you do a binding of dot, and then you do grid dot column equals 1, and then you bam, you do that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so the binding dot is going to
bind it to the actual object itself, right?
Yeah, and then what I like to do here is there's no image because we have that binding in here, but I could do d:\background color equals red for the frame, and then all of a sudden we should see a frame. Whoa. But let's take it a step further, Mr. Kim, because you have data and you have items and objects. Because we would want to do something like this. This is what we want to do. We do like stack layout, and then you're like, all right, cool, I got a stack layout. I'm still doing this with no IntelliSense. This is amazing.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's like the good old days. You remember the good old days.
I remember Notepad.
I don't need IntelliSense. Cool. So we put that in there. Now we got 2 labels. And let's go into this. Okay, so this is called a cast member, right? So
yes.
All right, so we're gonna get rid of these. Boop. And
where are you?
I'm up in my design item source. See up top?
Yep.
Up a little bit.
Nope.
Up, down.
Yep.
There you go. So what we're going to do here is instead of, we're telling that this is a type of string, but we could say cast member. Okay. Now you're going to have to bring in that model namespace though. I don't think that probably exists.
That is going to be here, right? My keyboard's not working. Still my keyboard? No, here we go.
Do that a brand new good old XMLNS.
Something. Data. Yeah, there's that.
Yeah. Boom. All right, perfect. So now we got it. So then what we can do is then we can say model cast member. And I don't know what your properties are on this thing. Let's take a look in your mock repository. So name and role. Okay, so let's just do that. So we'll do like name Kim, role lead developer.
Booyah.
And then we'll say James, and then we'll say intern. That's accurate. Okay,
that's the way it is.
So then down over here, well, here's what's really, really nice about this is that I have 2 items now, and then these will bind up to it. See, look at that. Boom.
Boom.
Here's the better part. It's the actual member. You don't even need to use d:\text on there. Just use your real binding because you're binding against a real object. And then boom, it still works just fine.
Beautiful thing.
That's a beautiful thing.
It is.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. I love it.
That's a beautiful thing. There you go. And then you're welcome.
I wish I could cheer bits for you.
Oh yeah, hold on. Let's see. How do I? You could have. One time I did a subscription to my favorite dog live while I was there. I was just like, oh, I'll chair right now. Let's do this. Pride 200 design data. Who doesn't love design time data? That's one of my features.
Clinton says it's so Silverlight.
It is, and it's great. Well, the thing here that I like is that there's no we went through a lot of iteration. The development team and the PMs, we did a lot of customer research on this feature, and this is newer, right? I did price 200. There we go.
Where are you doing price 200? Where's that?
There we go. Price 200. So we did a lot of research, and a lot of you're like, well, why don't I just put this in like a separate XML file or like a JSON file or like all this stuff? But like, then I got to go create another file. I got to go do this other thing. And like, look how easy it was. Like, you can see the design time data right there. You can remove it. You can use your bindings. There's no magical, like it lives over here type of thing.
So are you telling me I should man up and start using the previewer again? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah, right. Look at it. It's right there. Right there.
It is. It is. It's wonderful.
It's right in your face. And you're doing iOS. I didn't even know you were on the iOS tab. That's crazy.
That's what Android does for us.
Oh yeah. It should render. It should work. And if you have visual installed and then you compile your app once, all the visual stuff works too. It's great. So this is fun. You know why this is good is because what you can do is you can also do like, so I have like activity indicators going on in my app. And then I'll do D : like is running true. So I can see it in the previewer. Now I do have an open issue, which is I would like to see my design time data at runtime.
Yes. You mentioned that in your last stream, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. It works. Yeah. I don't know about the custom component thing, but it's rendering. That's all that matters. So
some Stack Overflow.
Yeah. Anyways, this is a lot of probably it's probably using something that needs to compile once or something or recompile something or who knows.
Anyways. Amazing stuff.
Oh, you're using some static. You're just coding and not even talking about what you're doing here.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. Why Dragon says yeah. Sometimes so it's a real surface. So sometimes when you debug your app and the previewer is open, like it'll cut out because the DLLs and underlying things that it's using are changing. And it gets real mad. But then usually it will change and update automatically.
One thing I always wanted with the previewer was, well, actually, no, I stand corrected because there was a try again button. It used to be that when it would crap out, you couldn't do anything about it.
Oh yeah. See, right now, well, you have a typo in your code. That's why it's not doing anything. Let me fix that for you. There you go.
Thanks, man.
Yep. Did I just do it right? Yeah, that should do it. There you go. There you go. That should work. Boop. Man.
Beautiful. Look at that.
Yeah. Have you just been building this the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's cool.
Pretty much. Just chugging away, like writing some code, doing some design.
Doing great work. Living life. I mean, I'm still waiting for that Xamarin.Forms, pull down, but give me that. Spice it up with your cool. That's small.
Some animations. Can we do
yeah, give me some sweet animations. Look, you're just coding it up. Yeah, what's the design reference look like? What is this app called? That I need to download this app. You need to put in a custom command that I can do bang tools or bang extension maybe. And then I just did this in mine. So I could be like, what am I using? Right. I think I do like bang extension. So it's like I have XAML styler installed. I have like, whatever version of Visual Studio. It's one thing I have.
So you like your environment. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this looks good. I like this thing. They have a custom font in there. That's for sure.
Sorry, were you looking at this?
That was XD. Yeah.
So this design is like, I always go across to Dribble, just find things that I like. So this one is by Ghani Pradita. So then I basically just bring them all into XD and then start, ruling them out and working out how I'm going to do it.
Did you do this gradient? Did you use Pancake View for that puppy?
No, what I did for this part, so there's a couple of gradients going on. So there's this gradient that's going up here, the white to transparent. As I mentioned, I could do it with Skier, but all I did was I just literally had an image that went white to transparent and just laid it over the top. This one though couldn't do that. So that we did with a Skier Sharp drop shadow.
You know about the Pancake View, right?
Yeah, I know about the Pancake View. I used the Pancake View to give me some rounded corners on this bad boy.
See, I use it for the gradient. You can do a gradient built in just from from white to transparent, and it'll just do it.
Yeah. Why don't I use it? There's a reason I didn't. I'll tell you why, is because last time I was playing around with this, actually, I'm not sure if I've got a thing I can show you. Hang on a second. So, let me just...
Look at that photo.
What's that?
That photo of you is so funny.
Which photo? Oh, that one.
Just your GitHub profile photo. I'm literally 10 seconds delayed, so whatever you see, I see 10 seconds later.
Yeah, that's
great.
That's me in Seattle.
That's
the
great.
first time I went to Seattle.
So young. That was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Ah.
So this is the one I did previously. This was one of my previous ones, and the challenge here, and the reason I couldn't use Pancake View is because it's got a gradient from one color to another color, whereas it's got three colors. Yeah,
3 colors. I need him to add that. Yeah.
Yeah. The way Skia does it is pretty cool.
Does the Skia one, it'll let you do like percentages, like fade and then do like 75% one and then fade to the other one? Is that how that works? Can you show me what this looks like? It's probably in here, huh?
Sure. Actually, yeah, no. Well, let's have a look at the code in my GitHub here. What was that called?
I mean, didn't you do it in this one though?
For the drop shadow?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, in this one, it's literally just here's the Skia code for it.
Interesting.
Put a color, create a drop shadow, and then just this is what I really like is you can say, hey, I want to draw this rectangle, but I've got an image filter to say, actually, don't draw the actual image, just draw what the shadow would be of it.
Ah, fancy.
Because you can set,
that's cool.
Because you can set that to be shadow and foreground or just shadow only.
I gotta ask Steven and ask him if he'll add multi, because it'd be good in this case. This one's easy, it's got 2, but yeah, if you needed 3 or you needed to adjust it from it started at later on,
yeah,
that'd be good.
I'll show you the way it happens in so there's Skia going on in this one.
Are we putting these somewhere? Do we have a GitHub of like, here's all these beautifully recreated apps that you can do with Xamarin?
You know, the best place to have a look at is awesome Xamarin. I'll never get this right.
Oh, is there an awesome Xamarin somewhere?
Yeah. Here. Let me throw this in the chat window.
Oh, got it.
And this has got lots of cool stuff in it. Oh, wait, no. This is not the one I'm after. Awesome. Good looking.
It's too many.
Good looking UI. That was the list.
Oh, right,
of
the second one.
This one.
There you go. We need a way of how do we put this all together?
And there's also what we should probably be doing is there's snippets. Is that it?
Yeah.
I always get that wrong.
I would like for there to be like a site where it's like snippets, right? I mean, I wonder if we can put snippets. I'll talk to Steven. Maybe it's like there's snippets, but can we just put all of the full apps there? Because these are supposed to be like parts of it, right? Like, what if we pull foot apps, right? I know it's more than a snippet, but then it's everything.
Well, what I do, I've got a few in here. Like, for example, here's one of mine from a million miles ago. I basically just link it out to an article in this case. And then the article, I always, just have a GitHub link down the bottom. So it kind of goes out to the code, yeah.
Some ideas. All right, I'll let you go back to code, and I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna eat some food. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat some food. In a moment.
Was this helpful at all? Did you hate this? Did everyone in the chat room? They all left. So
yeah, they're still here. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Thanks, James. And as soon as school holidays finish here, I'll see if we can drop in and do some Hanselman stuff.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah, that's what we wanted to do, chat. This was a test stream so we can see, because I want Kim to join me on one of my streams on Friday. And so this is like, look, Kim, I've been on your stream. So,
Just saying. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Beautiful.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate that. Keep doing.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Say bye, everyone. Bye, James. And let me hang up the call on James. Beautiful. Awesome. All right. Look at that. That was great. That was amazing. That is the power of live share, right? The power of live share and Skype together at last. Look, he's still in here. He just disconnected. All right. So now that James has gone through and he's told me all about design time data and broken my camera, he's left. Let's have a look at where we're up to. All I want to do here is just finish off this tab, get this tab working. And then I too am going to have some lunch. All right, look at that. Beautiful. So we've got those in place. Let's have a look back at our reference design again. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. So now let's get this let's get this going between them. So I've only got the first two tabs worth of data, so I'm just going to just switch between these two perhaps. Now here's where I'm going to do a really, really cheeky solution or cheeky way of doing this. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm amazed how well James could have a look at a code base and start editing it. That was amazing. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give these guys a name. Yeah, that was fun. That was heaps of fun. Okay, I'm going to set this to my Visual Studio. My Visual Studio is upset that James isn't here anymore. I'm going to set that opacity of 0 there. Let's just see if we can get this working. So first of all, we're going to have this one visible. Now what we're going to do is when somebody goes and taps on a tab, right, we call this method here, which moves our little navigation pill. And then what we're going to do is we basically want to reveal the contents inside of there. All right, so to reveal the contents, what we can do is we can fade out what's currently there, because fading's cool, and then fade in the next bit of tab. So if we sort of, actually what I will need to do is I need to add a list of the tab contents as well. So I'm going to basically assume that anything that in the tab is a visual element. And of course our grids are a visual element. Beautiful. Just try this first of all. Okay, so to reveal the contents, I'm going to fade what was currently in there. So I'll say for my tab contents, right? So the assumption here is that it's going to be in the same order that it was in, same order in the collection as it is on the UI. So I'm going to say, let's go and get the tab contents for the current selection. Which is selection index, and we'll fade that to, what's happening with my keyboard here? Come on, keyboard, you can do it. Okay, so tab contents, selection index. So we'll fade that to 0, but because we want it to fade out before we fade the next thing in, we're going to await that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, and this is a bug, or what I think is a bug in Android, which is basically if something is has no opacity, it still registers clicks and things like that. So I'm going to say tab contents selection index dot visible is visible. Is false. And then I'm going to go and get the new tab contents, which is our new tab. And I'm going to make that visible. And then I'm going to fade that in. And in this case, I don't really need to wait for it, I don't think. All right, but of course it's going to complain because I'm not awaiting it. So I can say use a discard. So say, yeah, okay, whatever. Okay. And that should be about it. So what I'm going to do is just quickly come back here and add in another couple of tabs. So we'll have our cast tab. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just copy these ones because I don't have any data for those. So I'm just going to say, okay, well, that's our info. What's our other tabs? News, critics, and media. If you're trying to fade in the Why Bad Dragon? If you're trying to fade in the new tab, you need to fade to 1, not to 0. You're right. You are so right. There we are. Thank you. All right. So let's just quickly throw these in here. All right, let's give that a go. Beautiful. Look at that. That's pretty cool. I suppose it could do something like, you know, as it fades in, sort of make them animate in a little bit. That might be cool. But yeah, it's the basics of what we're trying to do. All right. Should I dare run this on iOS? Because I've been running on Android this whole time. Yeah. Let's give it a go. I'm going to try and fix my webcam while that's deploying. Done. You like the 5 multicolored Kims? Yeah, it's probably nicer. Hey, that works. Look at that. Here's the iOS version. First run, not too bad. Background color. What's going on with the background color? Yeah. Just Lachlan, just strap cellophane to your eyeballs. I can adjust the colors here if you want. I can make it like all blue. Turn them off if you like. Alrighty. So that looks pretty good. I think I need to get rid of a background color on this list view. Background does. That's better. The other small problem here as well. It's not a problem in my code. See, sometimes in iOS, in the simulator, it leaves artifacts behind. But yeah, okay. So there we go. We've got ourselves, I think, a pretty good representation of what we're trying to do. I'm going to bring that over here. So here's a question for the chat. I do a lot of these UI challenges, and I don't do a lot with them. Would you like me to actually, in the next stream, perhaps tie this all into a backend API so that we can get this first screen? I can actually call live ones, or that'd be cool. And BP Aletto. Sorry, I'm saying that terribly. Yeah, I have terrible problems. Here's the one that I have the most problems with, is when I go and use an iPhone 10. It's got the notch. The notch looks terrible. And I've seen like David Orsenau and some people demo, and they haven't had that artifact, but I can't get rid of it. Yeah, let's see if I can show you. Yeah, see, look, it's like it's just grabbing stuff out of memory up the top here. I don't know what does that. Sometimes it's pretty cool. Mine always shows up the worst time, like during a sprint demo or when I'm showing something to management. Yeah, always when the boss is looking. Cool. Well, you know what? I think unless anyone's got any questions or anything they want to cover, I think I'm done for the day. I've been streaming for a few hours. I've got to get some lunch and pick up the kids from school. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check this in. Clinton cheered one bit. Go Clinton. Ooh. Trying to do this navigation. Let's have a look at this, peeps. Let's have a look at how we can do. Let's throw around some ideas about how we could do this navigation. So I'm good to be looking at this on screen, right? So Astaroth, what are we talking about? We're talking about this, which part of the UI? Navigation marked one. Ooh. What's it doing? Yeah, this one.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
What's it? So, Astaroth, what's it actually doing? What's causing this? Without easy navigation through the application with an intuitive interface. I'm just trying to understand what it's actually doing. Oh, yeah, you could do that. Right, it's also like, it's almost like a master detail with a fancy animation. I think you'd have to like, I don't know, it's a good challenge, isn't it? It's a good challenge. Even the menu bar at the top changes. This is the problem with designers, right? Designers are like, oh, you totally need to do this. And so it's this one here. Yeah, middle bar gets shorter and longer. I think, I don't know exactly how I would do that. But I'm wondering if I mean, you can shrink a content page down like that, right? Yeah. So like the actual making this whole thing smaller, you could totally do, right? Like it's just the question of when you fire it and how the pages are laid out, right? Let's have a look. Let's see what happens when, like, let's say my app I'm running here at the moment. I don't know if a content page has a scale, does it? Oh yeah. So that it kind of did one thing, it moved this. But you probably wouldn't do it on this, right? You'd probably like go in this grid here. In my case here, oh, that's interesting. It's working on the child view. And let me see if I can come back to, where's that page? So I think you could get a page, right? I think the reason why that's not sort of resizing particularly nicely on mine is because of just the way I've got it structured with child controls. 7. That's just scaling that. I don't know why it's just scaling that, but anyway. So you could totally scale a page. You could translate a page. You could do that all via animations. So Why Bad Dragon says I'd probably just have the top be a content view and as an overlay and move scale it on the menu tab. Yeah. True, right? So you're saying like the page structure is like, here's your page, here's your menu, and then you just like throwing a content view over top of this. And when I click that button, you just get that page and translate and scale it down to there. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, like I think that would totally work. Yeah. The challenge though is that everything would be on one page. You might have to dynamically load some things or use a bit of lazy loading in order to make sure that you're not just consuming, crap loads of memory by having every page in the application sort of just inside of them. But, if you had the content view and as you tapped on one of those, can I bookmark this? I'm going to bookmark this. So, I don't know if anyone's keen, we can try to build this. Could be a good thing to do. That would be fun. It would involve a lot of hacking. I feel like the solution might be a little bit hacky, but that's the fun. All right. So any other questions? Yeah, that way it could all be inside a single page. Yeah. And you could avoid that. And also, as I mentioned, you could load this content view dynamically when somebody goes and, wait until this animation happens. When somebody goes and taps on one of these here, you could dynamically load it and stick it in that content view, which then scales back out again. Yeah, why Bad Dragon? Absolutely. And if anyone wants to pair program as well, like James jumping in today, that was heaps of fun as well. So let me know. Alrighty. So let me just check this code in. And yeah, please, Goodrich Quality Theatres app. You've got a Mac. No sharing, Clinton. Well, yeah, true. That's all right, Clinton. We can just join in though. Get on your PC and we'll join up. Okay, I'm going to check in some code here. VS Code. Actually, Glenn Stevens and I did a Visual Studio to Visual Studio code sharing, and it worked all right just for editing. It wasn't great for debugging, but it did work. Oh, and Lachlan used Visual Code on a Mac to live share to David Ortonow's stream. Fantastic. Well, he was using Visual Studio on a PC. Yeah, cool. Yep, as long as I got Real Visual Studio. I mostly use Real Visual Studio. And also, was it you, Why Bad Dragon? I think this is the app you were talking about, right? I have to download it and have a look. I'm gonna bookmark this puppy. So the second from last. Go away. All right, the second from last page with all the show times on it. Okay, scroll around on this and it will do some cool things. Okay, cool. It's bookmarked. All right. It's been fun. It's been fun. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and have a quick look and see who else is streaming, because it's always nice to share out. And talk to me, Gooseman. Me. What else have we got? Just wondering if there's anyone else we can raid upon. Maybe we should do Talk to Me Gooseman. What do you think? Why Bad Dragon? You're going to tweet a link to my phone recording the animation. Gooseman's fun. I like his streams.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotson. Oh, how amazing you'll be.
Thank you for the follow. Beautiful. All right, let's try and do a raid. I suck at doing raids, but we'll give it a go anyway. How did the jingle work? Oh, that's because, you know why the jingle was back? Because I changed my sound settings when James joined. That's why. All right, let's go and see if we can find Talk to Me Gooseman. And let's set up a raid. Thanks, James. I think James is gone, but James is awesome. All right, no worries. Thanks, B. Paletto. Hope I'm saying that right. Join me on a raid if you like, and we'll go and say hi to Gooseman. James always delivers. All right, bye for now, and I'll see you next time.
Nailed it.
What's up, Philpots? Thank you very much for the raid. How's it going, everyone? Why Bad Drag R2AU AU Latchland W Gordon. Thank you very much. Thanks for stopping by. How's it going, everyone? So that's the difference between the cat okay and the cat weird is so subtle. It's so subtle. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you for stopping by. Ask Firo. Awesome. I'm saying that right? The gun is creepy. We're working on it. We are, after many hiccups at the start of the stream, we're working on the streamer showcase. So we're adding a new page to the closed captioning extension that is going